everyone smiling, calling him Big Brother, saying they like him, waving goodbye. Pale's expression changes, saying he never wanted Ray to come back. And yeah, of course, everyone's lying dead on the ground. Lohane and Layla wake up. Now you tell them their names. Now that everyone's already down, the protagonist stands there, fists clenched, saying he still hasn't paid them back for everything they did for him. But then they hear a sound nearby and another dark Rasengan is being charged up. Ray is certain the golem is the one who killed them all. The children under the bridge, Niall's entire crew. And he swears he'll avenge them. Not sure how though, because that giant golem is right there charging a final attack that won't leave even his feet behind to tell the tale. Then, out of nowhere, modernity wins. Someone rams a car straight into the golem, sending it flying. Niall steps out of the car, calls Ray's name, and runs to help him. Pretty clear he's about to die too, right? He asked about the children, and Ray just says it's over. Miles looks to the side and sees the carnage. He apologizes, saying it's because he was too late, but the protagonist answers that it's not his fault. And then suddenly, they hug, like some tragic romance scene under the rain. Looks like the car really did kill the golem. Shut it down completely. Where's that beast now? The two of them hide out, and Ray asks about the subordinates. Niles answers that obviously they're all dead. Hector brought in a mage from another region. Ray wants to know what they're going to do. Niles says they'll head back to the street and look for other survivors. And right there, damn, I jinxed it myself. Asked about the golem, said he was going to die, and of course, they end up in the same frame. Good job, me. But honestly, why were they standing around talking right next to the golem? Disaster. And sure enough, the bastard goes down with a smug grin, making Ray faint. Ray comes to, asking what just happened. Turns out that Rasengan Blast caught him. He remembers every moment with Niles, and his heart starts glowing red. The boy unleashes that aura, and the golem swings again while Ray swears he'll kill them all. Nobody's left in the story we knew, just the protagonist, telling himself that if this is a dream, he wants to wake up now. The golem stretches its hand once more, but now it's Ray's turn. He's forming that blazing fireball. The monster keeps charging its Rasengan, while Ray builds a red vortex. The two energies collide, exploding everywhere, as the protagonist swears he's different from the golem. He's human with emotions, and then comes the massive blaze. What the hell? He disintegrates the beast. That's firepower. But here's the problem, he can only use his powers when he's emotional. He has to almost die just to get strong. He shouts, Niles, don't die. But the man's chest is a crater. Even so, he slaps Ray's hand away, telling the brat to stop irritating him. From the start, he knew he wouldn't die peacefully, though he didn't think it would be today. Even so, Niles had no regrets. He had achieved a lot for someone who started at the very bottom. The only uncertainty he carried was whether, if he'd started earlier, he could have gone further. For him, Ray's age was the perfect time. In that moment, Ray reaches for the medicine in his pocket, but Niles grabs his arm and says he needs to get out of there first. He had to leave that place and go somewhere better, since Niles had always seen him as a younger brother. Go upstream, not stay trapped in those sectors. Niles was sure that if Ray did that, he could make it. And at that moment, he let go, handed the boy the keys, and died. The protagonist just stood there, staring in disbelief. Hatred and despair, those were the first two emotions he had ever truly felt in his life. The next day, he's still under the bridge near where everyone died. He should have left already. This place is grim. He wakes up feeling the same pain as before, wondering if all of it might have been just a dream. But the moment he remembers what happened, his emotions twist and scatter inside him. Still, this time he feels something new, and he's sure of it. The stronger his rage, the stronger the fire magic he can summon. There's a direct connection between the intensity of his emotions and the strength of his magic. The problem is he went overboard. Now he's completely drained. He covers the bodies of everyone and vows to take revenge, whether in a noble way or a cruel one. Back on 17th Street, Niles' men are ordering everyone to move the corpses. The citizens knew now that since the enemy had won, life was about to get much harder, and Ray is already watching Hector preparing to kill someone. Mana concentrated in his hand when suddenly, a hand clamps onto Ray's shoulder. He spins, slashing, nearly cutting Humphrey's neck. The bald man tells him to calm down, but Ray's running hot and lunges again, unleashing a flurry of cuts. Humphrey can't make sense of those lightning-fast movements. The boy is far stronger than before, and at this pace, Humphrey is losing. Ray drives a blade into his shoulder, but then Humphrey simply grabs him by the collar, slams him into the ground, and says he shouldn't be stupid enough to die over something as trivial as revenge, because he has a proposal for the ghost of 17th Street. Ray lies still on the ground, silent. After a while, Humphrey says he's been watching the boy for some time and has something to ask him. Ray remembers Humphrey's reputation, a man known for silence, someone who finished every job perfectly without saying much. Seeing him now with this kind of expression makes Ray think he isn't trying to deceive him. Ray asks what it is. Humphrey says he also wants Ray to leave Sector 50. Ray asks why, and Humphrey explains he's searching for his brother, someone Hector sold to the City of Mages a long time ago. The deal was that if Humphrey worked for Hector for 10 years, Hector would give his brother back. But now he's starting to doubt Hector's honesty. He says the boy is about Ray's age. Ray asks why he should even accept this request. Humphrey immediately asks if Ray knows how to use magic. He's sure of it after that warehouse fight. It's an incredible talent Ray shouldn't waste because right now he can't defeat Hector. Hector always keeps a terrifying mage at his side. When Humphrey says this, Ray sees fear flare up in his emotions, and that's how he knows the man is telling the truth. Humphrey explains that anyone who pushes that mage's patience ends up frozen solid or drowned in a bubble of water. He's unbelievably cruel and at the same time, unbelievably strong. Humphrey warns that the boy needs to disappear, survive, and only later think of revenge. The truth becomes clearer to Ray. The only magic he knows how to use is based on pure instinct, while the enemy he's up against is an expert he'd have no chance against. Humphrey tells him that by following the Elton River upstream, he'll eventually reach the City of Mages. It said only mages can enter. Then Humphrey hands him the money he'd saved through most of his life. Inside it, there's also a paper with his brother's name and description. Ray can't understand why Humphrey is handing him money and everything else if there's a chance he won't even keep the promise. But Humphrey says he's been watching the boy for a while and knows he never breaks his word. On top of that, he's certain Ray has enough skill to climb up into higher sectors. Suddenly, he grabs Ray by the shoulder and tells him he has to decide quickly before the other members see. The protagonist takes the money and says fine, but Humphrey has to take care of the bodies under the bridge. Humphrey answers that of course he will, and with that, Ray leaves saying one day he'll be back. And sure enough, he runs like hell, exhausted but lucky no one followed. That's when he sees Viola again. He tosses her a coin and says he has a question. He doesn't have much time, so it has to be quick. She asks what it is, and he asks if it's true that if you find a rainbow, you can make a wish. He remembers one of the kids who heard this story from her said that sometimes a rainbow appears with countless colors that actually reach the ground. If you find that spot, you can make a wish. The protagonist thinks it sounds strange, but the boy kept insisting he had to believe it was real because he heard it from Viola, who swore it wasn't a lie. The woman then says it's true they exist, but whether you can really make a wish or not, that's another matter. Ray notices that, as always, there isn't a tremor in her mana. It's always purple, and he can't tell if she's lying or if it's something else entirely. Still, he grows curious, because Humphrey had said that Mage who showed up was also searching for a rainbow. With her saying this too, Ray is sure that wherever it can be found, it must be valuable. He then asks if finding a rainbow could bring back the dead. She shrugs it off, who knows? They say any wish could come true. The problem is no one knows where to find one. It's as if they're infinitely far away. Protagonist, just a warning, I've watched Full Metal Alchemist. You can't revive the dead. Don't go down that road. The boy thanks her and takes off running. Now he's at 23rd Street, Sector 50. The place Miles had marked on the paper is right there with the car parked out front. Just as he's about to get into the old man's car, someone shows up. It's that same guy from before, demanding to know where Niles is and if Ray was ordered to take the car. Ray doesn't have time. He knows this area is crawling with Hector's men, so he grabs the handle and climbs into the car, but the guy sprints over and grabs the door. Ray struggles, drained from using too much mana earlier, but now he doesn't hesitate. He pulls the trigger. Bam, right in the forehead. Damn, that was badass. He floors it and speeds off. Now he's leaving Sector 50, heading upstream. But he stops in what looks like a dump. He checks the trunk. Damn, Miles stocked a whole month's worth of supplies. But Ray says he won't reach the next sector for days. What? They're that far apart? Even at full speed, it'll take forever. First, he needs to find more information about magic in the next sector. At this point, what he knows is that there are two types of mana. Red mana, which can be used without preparation, and other types that require combining different colors to function together. Mana, obviously, isn't easy to manipulate, but he's able to focus on certain emotions and channel them more easily. He thinks of his dead friends to focus his rage, but the mana fizzles away. That's still his limit. 1 second of lost concentration and everything collapses. So he decides to try combining the manas available in the air. He pulls in a large amount and tries to form a sphere, but it too unravels. The problem with mixing those things is that certain emotions and colors repel each other, so if one touches the other, everything collapses. He has to concentrate hard to make it work. On the other hand, there are combinations that always succeed, so he needs to study them gradually. Before, survival was the only priority. He needed food, but now things have changed. Now he has a reason to learn all of this. The next morning, he speeds up the car, stops to drink some water, and trains a little more with mana at night. He practices with a bit of cold mana, tries out a small flame, and even manages some stone formations. Already exhausted, he decides it's time to stop, wondering if there's a gentler way to draw mana without draining so much from the surroundings. It would be much easier if he could store mana inside himself and use it whenever he wanted, just like that guy with those strange rings around his mana core. Either way, he decides to focus on figuring that out once he reaches Sector 49. Meanwhile, back in Sector 50, everyone is rushing around searching for something. The monocle man asks if they found it, but someone says unfortunately not. They've searched everywhere, but the golem vanished. When they insist they'll keep looking, he suddenly points something at the man's head. At first I thought it was a gun, but no. He says, "Take my cane." The man touches it, and instantly his whole hand freezes along with the rest of him. Why the hell would you touch it? Should have just run, and then shattered to pieces. That's it. Broken apart completely. At least try escaping. The villain still mutters that he's useless, and honestly, he's right. Then they find an area completely destroyed